Well, once again, good morning, everybody. My name is Lauro Herrera. Today's date is December 9th, 2019, and we are in the last month of the decade, and it's around 7:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time here in California. And guys, before we get going and selling today, I have a great special guest on. He's my friend, business partner, as well as my mentor. And, Tom Gordon, I've known Tom Gordon for over 10 years now. We met in Cabo San Lucas on a Lincoln Heritage Company trip. And then, we kept tabs on each other's over the years. And 3 years ago, Tom and myself decided that we wanted to roll out, with the phone sales and the virtual platform. And, no one can build anything by themselves. We all need partners. And, Tom brings a lot of experience to the table, a lot of financial resources to the table. I bring my experience table, my resources to the table. And together we built this beautiful partnership that not one single time have we ever yelled at each other. Not one single time have we ever disrespected each other. Not once, with Tom and including his beautiful staff. Not one time. And, that's the type of partnerships you need, that someone is going to go through the good and the bad with you. And Tom's that guy that'll go to bat for you. And he's shown us over and over again that he's here to help us grow. And we've built this beautiful relationship. So with that said, I asked him if he can talk to us today. And Tom, good morning. Welcome to the call. And good morning to Laura Byerly, who basically, Laura's, VP of operations. She handles pretty much everything. And you guys have gotten to know her as well. But Tom, I wanted to start off by thanking you. And first, I wanted to ask you, can you share with all of us how long you've been in the insurance business, Tom?
Sure. Tom Gordon here, and thank you very much, Laurel, for giving me the opportunity to talk to some of your great people here. It's been over 30 years since I first started in the insurance industry, and at the time, I like to give people a little background. When I was younger, there was only one thing I didn't want to do in life, and that was to be an insurance agent. So I remember sitting at the kitchen table, and a gentleman came in with a big black bag and a big book, and he sat down, and my mom and my dad were, talking to him, and they didn't seem too happy. And by the end of the day, he walked out with a check, and my dad was a New York City policeman at the time, didn't have a lot of money, and we had 6 kids. So it was a smart thing for him to do, but they weren't happy at the time because they felt it was too expensive. And I said to myself, I never want to be that guy with the big black bag and the black book and make people unhappy. Along in my career, and I've had a long career through the military and in sales and marketing. And one time in my life, I was a vice president of a bubblegum company that had recruited me away from the candy and tobacco business, and I'll get into that later. But I came across a situation where the bubblegum company hired me to get Yucky's bubblegum all over the country, which I did. I got distribution in the entire United States. And the president of the company made an error. We were retailing the bag of Yucky's bubblegum and cards for 59 cents. And come to find out that the cost on it was 69 cents. So although I had gotten national distribution, I wound up in a position where the chairman of the board called me up and said, Tom, we've got to close up operation, even though you have national distribution. Help us collect up the money, and we're going to close up, because obviously the president didn't do a good job in putting out a product at the right price, and therefore the company was not going to be successful, losing 10 cents a bag. Well, overnight, I still had financial responsibilities to and I got involved in the insurance business because I realized that I had to go out and make some substantial income coming from being a VP of sales to suddenly no income overnight. I studied for the exam. Back in those days, you could go to a 2 or 3 day course and then take the exam. Well, I started on a Wednesday, studied for 3 days, took the exam on Saturday, passed it, and Monday I was out in the field learning the business. And I started doing that over 30 years ago, and started off basically not only broke, but I was probably in the hole at least $50,000 on my financial responsibilities. Started working hard, learned the business by getting beat up by customers. Back in those old days when I was working in the Boston market, I didn't have any money for leads, so I had to go door to door. But back then, even in the Boston market, you couldn't knock on doors. You had to get a peddler's license to actually bang on a door. So I got my peddler's license and started banging on doors. Well, from those humble beginnings, I started building my business, and through trial and error and just working hard from like 6 o'clock in the morning till midnight every night. I started off my business, and I built it to $5,000 a week, then $10,000 a week. In my top week, I did 25,000 individual sales. And I did that from hard work, and also remembering that I tried to treat every single one of my clients as if they were my family. Protect them, take care of them, tell them the truth, and work really hard to get them a good product that would fit them, and that they could feel comfortable that their family was protected. Well, as I started to grow with this, I realized that there was a great future in this business, because somebody could start from absolutely nothing, even negative financial situation, and build a tremendous business. It's one of the last resources in America where you don't have to have money to build a future. And believe me, when I was back as vice president of sales, I took a company that was basically doing about $5 million a year in business, and I took it to $80 million in a 3-year period. I had major chains like ShopRite, 7-Eleven, Dairy Mart, a number of different outlets where we sold candy and tobacco and products all over the New England market. But what I realized is that even though you work hard in this business, you've got to put yourself in a strategic position to be successful. When I first started with the insurance business, I started selling health insurance, and I figured everybody needed it. Well, I went out and I sold a lot of health insurance, but the problem with the health insurance business is that not only do you have to make the sale, but you have to keep the sale year after year after year. In our industry, the position that you're in, we're selling life insurance. That life insurance, if you do the job right the first time, you can get paid over and over and over. And that's where real wealth is. The opportunity that is in front of you right now with the virtual sales, I believe, is the future for the majority of the life insurance sales in America. More and more clients, when I first started, people weren't familiar with internet, they were afraid of the phone, and the old-fashioned thing of someone banging on the door and come and see them, that was more of the norm. Nowadays, we have a society that is constantly moving, and a society that doesn't want to be interrupted and make appointments to somebody come over for an hour or 2 hours and, break up their day, where somebody who's sharp, that gets on the phone, that can basically let that customer know that not only are they a nice person, but they're a professional. If you know what you're talking about, like Lauro said before, if you know your underwriting, you can place your client with the proper product that's going to do a great job for the client, for the insurance company, and for you. This is a win-win business for everybody involved. As you get better and better at this business, that closing percentage will go up dramatically. Because I found that if you're sincere and you really know what you're talking about and you care about the people, people will not only respond to you, but they'll wind up rewarding you with additional business and referral. I remember when I first started doing this, and a lot of people were surprised that I actually called them back to make sure that they were happy with the product and that they were doing well. Or even just a yearly callback on a tickler list that said, you know, happy birthday or happy policy renewal day. And I would ask them, by the way, do you know anybody else that I might be able to help? And a lot of agents would say to me when I, would talk to them about getting additional referrals, they would say, well, I don't want to talk to anybody and, have them think that, I want business. I said, understand this. When I would talk to a client and anybody would say to me, well, I don't want to bother my friend. And I would say, have I ever bothered you? And they'd say, no. I said, did I do a great job for you? Well, yeah, you did. All I want to do is let your friend know that you thought so much of them that you would at least have me call and see if I could be of service in any way to them. And they would say, that's all you're going to ask them? And I said, that's all I'm going to ask them. And then time after time, I would get additional referral business from them. You're poised right now with Lauro Herrera and Orlando Mayorga, who are two incredible guys with a great virtual sales program, with a lead program. You've got everything tied together with people who are going to teach you, coach you, and train you to do the right things. The future of this business is not only in virtual telesales, where you can build not only your individual future, but you can expand and have other people in the future being part of your organization when you get really, really good. Because I know this for a fact. People like to work with winners. And when you get to the point, and again, it's not 1 month or 6 months. You can't worry about the short-term money. You got to worry about the long-term money. You want those long-term residual renewals. You want to build a future so that when it comes the end of the month, you know that you've got $5, $10, $20, $50, $100, $200,000 coming in every month because of the work that you did and the effort of helping other people get what they want. You'll get what you want.
That's powerful. And you know what, Tom? I want to interrupt.
I really care about not only Orlando and Lauro. I care about each and every one of you, and I want you to have the same opportunity and future that I've had. I've been blessed and highly favored, and I also know that I've gotten my nose bloodied a few times along the way. But one of the things that you must understand is that in order to be successful, you have to pay the price. And the price is you work hard, you get good, and it gets easier and more fun because it's much more fun having $50,000 check coming every month, regardless of whether you close that sale that moment. However, to get to that point, you've got to really care about your client and you've got to really work hard. And as you work hard and get better at it and help more people, the business comes to you. Over and over and over again, people will tell me, Tom, I want to do business with you, not because you're a nice guy, which I am, by the way, but because of the fact that you know what you're talking about. Experience only gives you additional credibility as you go through this marketplace. And you're one of the pioneers in this marketplace because although it's growing and building and growing every day, we haven't hit the tip of the iceberg yet. It's going to be so huge. And Lauro talks about we want 130 virtual sales agents doing millions and millions of dollars of business. How much of that business do you want?
I want all of it. I want all of it.
Hey, Tom, I have a question, if I may, sir.
Sure.
Once again, Tom, just on behalf of my family, our group, I want to thank you again from the center of my heart for being such a wonderful partner to us. I learned a lot from you, and I wanted to ask you a question. As a former ex graduate from West Point Academy, how have you, or maybe what advice can you give us to, uh, when you're going through adversity in sales, right? Like I had a bad week last week, but it's all good. Like Lauro says, you could have a bad day, a bad week, but you never have a bad month. Being that you've been in this game for 30 something plus years, and being that together collectively, we have gone through some adversity with the carriers and we're still here, right? It shows the testament of our loyalty to each other. What advice can you give us, youngsters that are in this business? And one thing that I love about you is that you said long-term money. I'm always about the long-term money, not the short-term money. But my question more or less is, what advice would you give us how to overcome adversity when we're pretty much thinking, I'm going to quit, I'm going to go get a job, right? What advice can you give us?
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that I found is that the harder I work, the smarter I get, the more money I make. And one thing I've learned, and you were talking about it before, about calling back leads, I never, ever, ever give up. And if you put your feet down and you grow roots with this organization, you will be successful. You will have a future, but it's because you deserve it. Many times, I'm told no. But the difference between me and a lot of other people, I keep coming. I keep asking. A lot of times agents will say, well, when do you give up? After the first call, the second call? I don't give up until somebody says to me, never call me again. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to call the FBI, the CIA. I don't want to talk to you anymore. And I say, I understand. You're probably having a really bad day. Would you like me to call you back Monday or Tuesday? After a while, they start laughing. And they say, what the hell? Don't you ever give up? And I said, not only will I not give up, I will never give up on you. And I will always make sure that I will be there for you.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? That strength of character, that strength of commitment, and that's because I really do believe that I'm going to help a lot of different people.
Wow.
And I'll close with this one last story. When I first started in the business, I got all the no's and not now and that's. I happened to be with a mother, and she had a couple young children, and asked me to go through, and I went through my final expense program, and I told her this and this, and the husband finally walks in. He walked in late. He was listening from the other room, and he comes in. Well, he says, I want to think about it. I'm sure you guys never heard that one before. I want to think about it. And I said, well, what is it that you want to think about? Is there something that I didn't go over, or you'd like me to review it? No, you did a good job. I understand. I just want to think about it. And I said, well, understand this, when I leave, I'm not coming back. No, you'll come back. You'll come back. And I said, no, there are so many people out there that need my help that I need to move on, and I need to help other people that really are sincere about protecting their family. Well, the wife got up and she was all upset, and she said, we really need to do it. And I said, listen, when you write a check out to me, we have the paperwork. You just need to sign it. You give me a check right now. When we walk out of here, you have a provisional certificate. As long as you don't lie on anything you've told me, you've got coverage. Finally the husband said, all right. And I said, you want me to review anything? And he said, no, you did a good job. I understand. I just, wanted to hold off. And I said, don't hold off on your family's, security for the future. You got 2 young children. And finally he caved in because I wasn't going to give up because I'm persistent. When I think of persistency, I think of Tommy the Bulldog. Once I bite into a lead, once I talk to a client, I don't let it go until it's done. And if that lead doesn't get chewed up, nobody else in America is going to make that close if I can't do it. So anyway, the long and short of the story is I leave that place, It was like a Friday afternoon, 4 o'clock. I go to the post office. I mail it off. I get the application in. Okay, I get a call. Saturday morning. Woman is crying to me. Crying on the phone. I can't even understand. I said, what's the matter? What's going on? Can I help you? And she said, my husband just got hit by a train. He's dead. Is my policy good? And I said to her, as long as you didn't lie on that application, I guarantee I will go to the insurance company and make sure that that claim is paid. And sure enough, they didn't lie on the application. The policy was only for $30,000, but $30,000 to that family was more like $300,000. They needed it so badly. And I tell that story to a lot of clients who tell me, well, let me just wait another week or two or next month. Why don't you call me back? And I would say to them, you know what? Now's the time to get the policy. Does that mean that I'll give up totally? No, I will keep coming back no matter what happens. But I'm telling you is that sometimes you've got to be the mentor for people that you actually care about. And I'll tell them that story and say, please, don't put yourself in that position where we don't have an application going into the home office and you're not covered. I'd be happy to take any questions from anybody at this point.
I have one.
Share the story.
I have one, Tom.
Yeah.
Go ahead and share the story, but I got one before we let you go. But go ahead and finish that.
No, I was saying is that I'm willing to take any questions that you have right now. But bottom line is, guys, never give up. Have that confidence that you are going to be at the top. It will come. You'll get better and better, and it'll get more easier. And a lot of people say to me, Tom, you've got more than enough money. Why do you even keep doing this? And I tell them, I don't do this because I need money. I do this because I love it. And I love helping people, and I love to see other agents build a future and have the success that I have. And all it takes is that effort over and over again, and you'll get the money over and over again. Right. And again, any questions you have, be happy to answer.
You know, Tom, for us, you've always believed, as well as myself, leading from the front. You know, that's something we've always aligned with because we have a very similar background, right, in our experience. But to everybody that's listening on this call in our YouTube, why is leading from the front so important, okay? Because you see a lot of guys that want to build agencies, and all they want to do is chain letter recruit, give out crazy contracts, and introduce to vendors. But nobody wants to roll up the sleeves in the trenches, right, and go to work. And I always share this story with people. When I started my career in 2004, you know, with Golden Memorial and Lincoln Heritage, what really impressed me about Ray Berrigan, sir, the owner of my agency, was that he was filthy rich. And of the carrier is that they're beyond wealthy, like what Tom is saying right now. Why did he even have to work? But these two gentlemen, impressed on me as a young 20. And when you have a person that's worth millions and millions of dollars going out in the field with the young cat like me back then, it changed my whole life to where we are today. So my question to you, Tom, being that you have way more experience than me, why is it that leading from the front is so crucial if you're going to build an agency? So we can get some information out there, because you see a lot of these multi-level marketing groups that I'm not very fond of, but they sell people these dreams and then they don't fulfill the order with training support. Can you share with everyone and like if this was your son, what would you tell him?
Well, first off, I'd tell them a little story about a company called Prime America. It used to be A.L. Williams, and they used to go out and they would say, buy term, invest the difference, because it was cheaper. And their marketing program was basically sell to your friends and family, but how they would recruit people is they would bring them in and their manager or their teacher or their coach would go sell their friends and family, and they would make the commission, and the new agent would now have no friends and family left, and most of them bought because of that individual, and they'd have no market base. So they were told, go out and recruit somebody else and get their friends and family, and that's how you'll make some money. And what would happen is you'd wind up with 10,000 agents doing 2 policies because everybody out there was recruiting and building and recruiting, and nobody was writing business. And I'll tell you this, if you want to learn how to do this business and make money, you need to learn from the professionals that are actually doing it. If you're not leading from the front, you're not leading at all, because all you're doing is building a pyramid of people who nobody knows how to make any sales, nobody's making any money. And I always tell people, listen, the greatest recruiting tool that I've ever had in my life is when I show them a $100,000 check for the month. And all of a sudden they go, what do I need to do? What you guys need to do is to listen to Lauro and Orlando, learn this business, become really good at it, because the top 5 to 10% of the agents in America make 90% of the money. The bottom 90% make 10% of the money. You got to be good. And the way you get good is by learning, working hard, and never giving up.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Tom. And lastly, Tom, can you provide everybody the phone number to our office in South Carolina? For anybody listening, if you want to reach out to Tom's staff, talk to Tom, ask him any questions, confirm, our playbook with Tom. This is the first time, we've shared, Tom's story with the public. But, Tom's been our partner for 3 years now. So, Laura, can you provide the best number to reach you guys at?
Yeah, Laura's right here right now.
Yeah, the office number for any type of contracting questions or
any contracting, any agent that's looking for an opportunity, anybody that wants to follow up with Tom. I know Tom knows a lot of people. Steve Bontel. Yeah, Steve Bontel said hello. Yeah, Jader, go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Tom, Mr. Gordon, it's great. A lot of value. Just listening to you, I already feel that I'm already making some headway with my career in sales. But I was wondering, how do you personally overcome, sometimes we have these invasive thoughts that are self-defeating, that are these mental obstacles that just seem to spring up out of nowhere, and you don't even know really the source of it. But how do you overcome the psychological barriers that sometimes, again, just come up?
Well, I'll tell you how I helped solve one of my psychological barriers of getting in the insurance business. I had a mortgage. I had family that were hungry. They needed food. They needed clothes. And I decided that the only thing that was going to stop me from being successful was a bullet. And that bullet was from me. You got to understand is that the only one that can stop you is you. If you keep working and working, your strength and your commitment will overcome any obstacle that you come across. I'm just trying to, say to you is that if you really, really want to be successful, there is nothing in this world that can stop you. I always told my kids when they're growing up, you could be anything that you want in this world. You could do anything you want. And if you believe that, it will become true. What you concentrate on, whatever you believe in, you will realize it. There are so many people out there that are scared or nervous. And I'm telling you this, we're all scared at some point in time. But you got to believe in yourself. You just got to keep pushing forward, because there isn't anybody on this phone line that can't be one of the top agents in the country. And it's wide open for you. You've got all the tools together. When I first started in this business, I didn't know whether I was coming or going. You got coaches and teachers and trainers that care about you. And not only that, they've put together a program that if you just keep working hard at it, you'll get better and better and better. And that will overcome anything. As far as being fearful, there's only one thing that can stop you, and that's death. And I hope that everybody has good health, but even if you're sick, even if you are disabled, you can still be financially successful and you can be professionally successful in this business because all you need is a telephone. I don't know if that answers your question.
Relentless pursuit of happiness. Nothing's perfect. Nothing's perfect. But we have to make a decision, and that's it. All right. Well, Tom, I appreciate your time. Yes,
yeah, I wanted to give you back Laura, and she can give you our numbers and stuff. Okay, hold on.
Okay. The office number, the toll-free number, you would reach me is 888-288-8512, and you would just hit option 2, number 2, and that would just get me direct to my office.
Awesome.
If you need to reach Mr. Gordon directly from his cell phone, that number is 864-457-6143.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you very much, Tom. I appreciate your time this morning, and Laura, thank you so much for everything that you do for our team. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Lauro. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.